And we'll start if that's okay. We've got a half an hour, and a warm welcome to everyone who's managed to join us. There may be one or two more who join, but we are recording this session and we'll put this out onto social media and make it available to colleagues. So I'm Alison Tong and I'm the Exec Director of Strategy, Innovation and Planning at Arden and Gem, and work very closely with our sister CSUs across the country. We're now 4 CSUs working together as one group. And I'm here to show you some progress that we've been making on our integrated resource planning tools, and particularly shedding a light on one of the tools and models that we've been developing, which is focused on bed and community capacity planning. So perhaps we could just move the slides through. We do have a series of these events running. There's one per week, I think, and at the end of the session, I'll ask Katya just to put those future dates up for everyone. But we have a thematic presentation, half an hour each time, with a different spotlight on different aspects and challenges in planning. So today it's very much about demand and capacity planning with a focus on the community discharge pathway. As I said earlier, we're working across our 4 CSUs now as a group, and we have significant expertise. We've got nearly 7,000 expert staff, significant turnover, and we're here to support the whole of the NHS, whether that be integrated care boards, NHS trusts and collaboratives, primary care, and our wider partners in social and health and wellbeing services. And key areas of support within which this offer sits includes workforce transformation, productivity, digital tools and partnerships, our transformation services, and of course all of our huge assets around data, intelligence, and insight that we can offer as a result of that population, the strength of our population health intelligence. Thank you very much. I'm just going to move on to a very brief summary for the next slide. Thank you, Claude, which just sets out what we're doing in each one of these sessions. There will be a brief summary of the challenge that the tool or the model is seeking to address, a brief demonstration, and then some discussion of benefits and an opportunity for you to ask questions. Please pop them in the chat in the meantime, but there will be an opportunity at the end for you to pop your hand up and we can have a discussion, and I'll answer as many questions as I possibly can in that time available. Thank you, Claude. Next slide. I just wanted in this, and you'll probably need to click this, just to set out how we're viewing connected planning, which the way we're building the models, and I'm not going to present all of the models today, but over the series that we've got of 6 different sessions, you will see all of this that I'm presenting here. So what we look at is building connected planning, which serves our triple aim, and including social value. The NHS is very much focused on integrated care, serving populations, ensuring we've got good quality of care and access, that we focus on improved outcomes, but also that we've got a sustainable health service. And we'll know at the moment we've got a big focus on the 10-year plan, a focus on looking at the DARSI recommendations within that 10-year plan, and productivity, efficiency, use of resources, digital tools are front and centre in the recommendations for sustainability and ensuring we make best use of our resources. And the connected planning and digital tools I'm presenting to you over this series are very much in that space of digitisation, using intelligence, using data to make good decisions. And the way that we look at decision making is with respect to these 4 different lenses. So we look at it from a regional, an organisation, board to department, or board to floor level. So we have that connectedness from a governance lens in terms of accountability and scheme of delegation. So how do we make good decisions at all those different layers? Secondly, how do we make good decisions and plans across a whole pathway or a process of care? And that's what I'm going to focus on today, particularly looking at connecting information related to demand and capacity. Sorry, Claude, it's the previous slide for a second. Thank you. And then we are also looking at the, sorry, Claude, it's the previous slide. If you just go back. Thank you. We're also looking at the population lens, so looking at place-based planning, how we actually plan for a population. And those are the key sort of lenses, really, in terms of ensuring that we've got planning in place. And then on the right-hand side of the slide, when it pops back up, we're also looking at ensuring that we've got connectivity between all our different resources. So how do we connect workforce planning with finance planning, with activity planning, so that we actually connect all of those together? So over the series that we're looking at over this coming weeks, you will see all of those connectivities coming through in terms of our models. And we're very excited to be able to show that. But what we want to do is reveal each of the models one by one. So we actually get that opportunity to be able to deep dive into each model and to explain the benefits of those individual models, how they connect together and how they produce value for the NHS. Next slide. Thank you, Claude. So if we just start with this particular model that we're presenting today, which is about the challenge that we have in looking at community care pathways. And the particular challenge that we've set out here is how do we get a better handle on understanding the capacity required in our inpatient capacity? How do we predict admissions? How do we therefore take that predicted admissions to understand the capacity that will be required in our inpatient facilities? And then how do we understand the length of stay and the operational performance and productivity measures there and link that through to discharge pathways? And there's an interdependency clearly between the admissions, the capacity in the hospital for bed occupancy and the discharge pathways, and the capacity that interlinks all of that, really, in terms of ensuring that you've got good flow and good flow of patients coming in the front door, how long they stay, and then discharging into the right pathways of care in terms of those discharge pathways. And at the end of each of those discharge pathways sits capacity, and we need to make sure that the capacity is available to meet the demand in each of those discharge pathways. At the moment, we don't necessarily have that full visibility across those pathways of care. We don't always know in real time how that will work. And the important thing with this tool is it's very much real time. It's about putting the information in the hands of decision makers, particularly clinical teams and operational clinical teams, so that they can make decisions next week, next month, in three or 6 months' time, exactly how they're going to adjust the capacity so that you continue with that flow. Oftentimes we have a reactive system, we have delayed discharge, which cost a huge amount of resource in the NHS, and we're not getting great patient experience. It's poor for patients, it's not good use of our capacity. So this whole challenge is really then placed at the foot of our model developers to look at, well, how do we resolve that with a better flow of information, a better prediction of capacity, and understanding how we can use that in real time to make better decision making. Thanks, Claude. If we can move to the next slide. Now, data is absolutely critical in this. And as I say, Lord Darcy has talked about not only data, but using data with digital tools and with automation and actually better decision making. One of the key things that we found in building our models is that we need to hold a very significant amount of data and multiple data sources, whether those be local data, national or regional data flows. And it's how those different data sources come together to improve decision making. And you need a technology and you need a platform for you to enable to manage that data, manipulate and integrate that data together to make those decision making models useful. Thank you. We have a presentation in a minute. I'm going to actually show you the tool in a minute. And my colleague is on the call, I've noticed, who actually has been instrumental in that. So he'll no doubt answer any questions if there are any. And predicting, as I say, the key element in this particular model that we're presenting to you is a demand and capacity model with a strong prediction element to it. So predicting demand, predicting, therefore, the flow that you're going to need to meet with future capacity, to keep the flow through the hospital and keep the flow through community services. If we can get a better handle on that prediction element, we can therefore plan capacity in response to that predicted demand and predicted flow. It therefore improves the experience of patients, improves our use of resources, and enables a better allocation of resource ultimately. Thank you. Just got a couple of diagrams. So when I talk about demand and capacity, we're not at this stage in this particular model talking about the whole patient pathway from a population need through to referral from primary care through to secondary care. We're very much focused on the heart of the hospital in terms of bed occupancy and the discharge end of the pathway. So that's this particular model that we're presenting today is very much focused on those two elements. And just the next slide just brings that to life a little bit. If you can move it on, thank you, Claude. To look at the discharge elements that go through from our individual pathways 0 to pathways 1, 2, and 3, which clearly are representing the different complexity of needs. Therefore, what sits at the end of those individual pathways, and we've color charted this as an illustration here to say at the end of each of those pathways, for example, pathway 0 is really go straight home. Pathway 1, there's a set of different services that will then be assembled to support pathway 2 and pathway 3, where you've got long-term residential care or complex care. So what we're able to do is to better predict the capacity that sits at the end of those pathways by understanding the demand and the flow from hospital into those and the interaction between hospital flow and community capacity, therefore reducing bottlenecks, improving that resource utilisation. I think I'm going to now just hand on to my colleague who's going to present the demonstration. I think we've got a short video that we're just going to present to you because we didn't want to have any technology problems. So what we wanted to do is just have a video playing. Thank you, Claude. If you could just make sure that's at the start of the video. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to a brief video demonstration of the Bed and Community Capacity Planning tool developed by Arden and Gem CSU using the Anaplan planning platform. For a more detailed demonstration or for any questions about what's shown in this video, please send a quick email to agem.integrated-planning@nhs.net. Let's dive in. So this is an integrated planning tool developed by Arden and Gem that coordinates the demand and capacity view of both in-hospital inpatient beds with services that support discharge from hospital, whether that be social care, local authority services, or community services, or hospice. In developing this tool, Arden and Gem integrates both national data flows as well as local data flows. And in this example, we're using a hypothetical provider called Greenwood NHS Foundation Trust, which has 3 sites. In the background, what Arden and Gem is doing is running a weekly process to bring through new actuals of data that then updates the plan on an ongoing basis. And here we can see the in-hospital view. So we have a historic view prior to the 12th of August 2024 that shows known demand and capacity in various beds, as well as admissions and discharge. And a user can kind of scale through and understand the different pictures between different hospital sites. Arden and Gem is then using this historic information to generate a future baseline forecast of what demand is expected to look like. This forecast takes account of seasonal variations, so variations between winter and summer, as well as daily and weekly variations, so variations between days of the week, weekends, as well as recent trends. In this planning tool, an individual can vary this in-hospital view in terms of understanding the impact of if admissions change in the future, if length of stay changes in the future, or if capacity changes in the future, to understand what impact that will have on the in-hospital setting. A user does this by choosing a certain planning version to make changes to. We'll make these changes to the other version. So again, if a user wants to see the impact of admissions being 15% higher in December, they can see that impact be calculated through the model. Again, these adjustments can be applied to different sites. We've seen this change now to 128%. However, this isn't just an in-hospital planning tool. Within this tool, we're also integrating discharge information. So where are patients being sent from each site, whether that's pathway 1, pathway 2, pathway 3, and the various services within that. And we also integrate locally available data around, again, known historic actuals of demand and capacity, admissions and discharges across community providers, across local authorities, with the ability to drill up and down. So again, if an end user wants to see the demand and capacity picture of a particular local authority and perhaps a particular service within that local authority, they can see the impact of that. And again, this is a strategic planning tool. So if a user wants to vary that plan, they can make adjustments to it. So again, if they want to make adjustments to the level of admissions in reablement services, they could apply these adjustments here. So here we're planning a 200 admission per month reduction. Same for length of stay. A user could adjust changes to the length of stay. The user can also change the shape of a pathway. So in this example here, we have a local authority that wants to model the impact of decreased discharges into pathway 2. So we have an initial view based on data, and then they've made adjustments in the model to increase the number of discharges into pathway 0 and pathway 1, and reduce discharges into pathway 2 and pathway 3. And again, a user can see the impact of all of these changes on the demand and capacity picture. What perhaps isn't immediately clear is that this is an integrated planning model. So when a user makes changes to an in-hospital setting, and if they model an increase in admissions, they can also see the impact of those admissions on future discharges. So an increase in admissions here in December, yes, does impact the demand and capacity of that site, but then it will have a downstream impact on services that support these eventual discharges. Final two elements of functionality are the development of an optimizer tool. So if a user has a preset target that they know they need to meet in terms of occupancy, so say a national 92% target, they can understand what changes need to happen in order to meet that target. Whether that is through adjustments to admissions through the front door or quicker throughput through the hospital. And again, a user could modify these. So apply a 30% reduction in October and see the expected impact of those interventions, again, both on the in-hospital setting, but also on community and social care services. And we can see that that change for October has been applied in the chart on the right, that we have a modelled lower occupancy. Finally, because Arden and Gemma are maintaining this as a regular planning offering with weekly ingestions of data, a user can create specific snapshots. So at any point in time when developing a scenario, they can store that scenario for future reference. They can store a version of the life plan. And this enables a user to do comparisons. So in this example, our planner is looking at the current baseline forecast and comparing that back to a version of the plan that was set in April, and starting to understand why are the differences between that now that we've got extra months worth of information. I hope this was useful and informative. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. We did that recording because obviously sometimes technology fails you really, so we just thought we'd do that. So every one of these calls there will be a short video. Thank you, Claude. If you can bring the slides back up, or I'm happy to share whatever's easiest. Our focus in all of this work is to ensure that we have clear benefit realisation for every model that we are focused on. So we're focusing on the challenge. What is the challenge that we're seeking to address for the NHS? And in this example, really clear that there is a need for us to have a better grip on flow, better grip on predicting admissions and enabling community capacity to be better informed in terms of planning for the future. And actually, what are those wider benefits arising from that to have that benefit realisation opportunity? We've got quite a sophisticated benefit measurement model. Again, we can present this at a future date, which actually is all measurable and quantifiable. Thank you, Claude. We'll take that to the next slide. And just reiterating the benefit case and the value against a return on investment. Clearly, this does require investment of time from staff to use the tool, to make better decisions together. There's an investment in ensuring that you've got the right data and the right intelligence to make those better decisions, and to actually a small investment for the technology platform. We're here to support that. We've got great assets and great skills to be able to enable that. We'd love to hear your thoughts following on from this call and this opportunity for engagement. Any thoughts on what you believe the pressing challenges are, which will give you the biggest return on investment from this particular technology, and our services and our knowledge of the NHS that we wrap around. So thank you very much. That's from everything from me. We've got 8 minutes to close. If there is any questions or points or comments in the chat, please let us know, or you can put your hands up and we can answer questions now. Thank you.
Alison, I've just put in the chat the link to the future events that we've got running. As you said earlier, we've got a series of events coming up, so there's details on there and registration links as well.
Thank you very much. That's great. We do hope that as we get into these events, they will all be recorded. We've got all the videos, etc., recorded, so they'll be made fully available to NHS parties. And will be available to go into much more of a deep dive with anyone who wants to contact us. Happy to do a one-to-one and to go through it in far more detail and to actually illustrate what the opportunities are from each one of these models. Just a final word from me. The Centre for Integrated Planning, which I'm a part of, has a number of integrated planning models. We're going to be illustrating them over the coming weeks. But if anybody is interested and just wants a quick download from me about what are the models that are available and what's the benefits from them, I'm very happy to do that. So you don't need to join each of the webinars to get a picture of that. Please just contact me or any member of our team, and we're very happy to just take you through all of that. Thank you very much. But any questions anybody has, any points, please just pop your hand up or put it in the chat. I'll just check if there is anything anybody wants to ask. Could you share the requirements from each organisation for data and the methods of transfer? I don't know if David, you're still on. Did you want to quickly pick that up for a minute or two?
Yeah, sure. So obviously kind of data requirements will vary by model, and there is an element of customizing the models for each organisation. But for the solution that Alison just showed there, it was a bit of a mixture. So you had a combination of kind of national data flows that are stored on CSU infrastructure. So kind of national SITREP information around admissions, demand, capacity. But then we also integrated local data sets around the discharge destinations. From it was the integrated discharge teams across the 3 hospital sites in that case. So I feel I'm kind of half answering your question, which is we try to leverage national data sets and CSU infrastructure where possible, because it helps increase the speed at which you can implement the tool. But I think we always acknowledge there's going to be an element of local data sets that need to be absorbed and tweaked to make it work, if that helps.
I think Craig's specific question as well in there, just reading it, was about the other CSU's infrastructure interoperability. So if we have stored data in Anaplan in this particular instance, in this particular technology here, is that interoperable with other CSUs? I think the answer would be, well, they would be given access through our tenancy, I think. But is that right?
Yeah, we'd need to kind of check it. It could be quite specific, but there is a lot of shared infrastructure now between CSUs, so it probably depends.
Craig, did you want to come back on that? You've got your hand up. Yeah, please feel free to jump in.
Thank you, and thanks, David. That's really good and answers more or less all my question. My only bit was about the local elements through IDTs. Is there a standardized template that you're looking for the tool, or is it a case of whatever the IDTs have, they could send that to you and you'd make it fit for the tool?
Yeah, a bit of both. So I think if we were to kind of implement it, we'd share the current data spec that we're using and say, look, if you have something in this format, then great, it will plug and play straight away. But equally, if not, we will work with what you've got and adapt it to kind of fit what the tool needs.
Thanks. And just it was weekly ingestions of data. Did I hear that correctly?
It was a weekly data upload, but with daily information, if that makes sense. So we receive the data on a Tuesday, and that provides information about all the discharges from the Monday of the day before for the previous week.
Perfect. Thank you very much, both.
No worries.
Thanks so much, Craig. Okay, I think we're nearly at time, unless there's any more. So don't feel shy if there's any more questions. And we have put the future events up. So if this particular topic wasn't necessarily your top priority, I'm sure over the series that we will be picking up some of your key priority areas. So hopefully we're going to hit the mark over the weeks to come. Right, well, we'll close it there. Thank you very much for joining, and hopefully see you at the next event.
Thank you. Bye.